Alright guys, so we are going to talk about Rainbow Six Siege and the absolute dumpster fire that they call balancing, okay? So we're gonna start with attackers, and we're gonna work our way over to defenders. And keep in mind, this is just shit that I was able to remember that they did. And I'm gonna bring up a few things that really pissed me off with some of the balancing, especially when we get to the defenders side, okay? So, without wasting any time, we're going to start off with Recruit. We all remember, well, most of us remember OG Recruit, who got reworked in, I believe, Year 5, Season 1. We were asking Ubisoft not to rework Recruit simply because we enjoyed playing Recruit. Then they took Recruit out of Ranked for the next over 4 years. And then they reworked Recruit again and put Recruit back into Ranked, which again, nobody asked for the original Recruit rework. We had fun going attack Recruit with shotguns or shields, or defense Recruit with shotguns, right? We enjoyed that. It was fun. Ubisoft hates anything the player base finds fun, hence why they nerfed frag grenades and why we can no longer cook grenades to throw them at people and to make vertical plays. Nope, can't have that. We cannot have an actual intelligent use of a game mechanic. Nope, not with Ubisoft. So, starting out with attack, we're going in order here. Sledge. They took him from a 2-speed to a 1-speed for no reason. He was better off as a 2-speed. Then they got rid of his SMG-11 because, you know, Why would you run Sledge shotgun? You know, we're Ubisoft. We think you should run Sledge with the L85, not Sledge with the 590. So, they get rid of his SMG-11, so shotgun Sledge isn't good now, and they make him a 1-speed, so they make him slow as shit for no reason, and get rid of a good secondary. Thatcher. If you guys have been playing for a long time, like if you're an OG player, and OG being anything before, I'll say anything before Mozzie and Gridlock, right? Most OG players remember Thatcher's EMP used to destroy gadgets, not disable them temporarily, destroy them. They no longer do that. They got rid of that in Operation Grim Sky when Maverick and Clash came out. We didn't like that change. We all universally thought it was stupid. And they did that just to power creep Maverick, so you would have a reason to use him. Instead of having Maverick be an alternative to Thatcher, they power crept him. And they also took Thatcher to a 1-speed. This one is Ash and Ram. This affects both of them this season. I have not played Ash or Ram at all this season because of this. The R4C has lost 5 rounds from the mag. For those of you who think that's not a big deal, we'll get to the Jaeger discussion later, but they did something similar to the Jaeger. We'll get to that later though. They took 5 rounds from the R4C, which, if you want to nerf Ash, do something that's Ash specific. And actually, while we're on this tangent here, they took away Ash ACOG from R4C a while ago, and then they gave it back, which they shouldn't have taken it away in the first place. Then they nerfed the R4C recoil, made it harder to use, whatever, where we can get over that. We can get over a gun that's hard to use. But you know, they got rid of the ACOG regardless. Now they're taking away 5 bullets from the R4C, which not only affects Ash, but it affects Ram. And this is a common trend you'll see with Ubisoft. They'll say, we know players will not be happy with these changes, but we're doing it anyway. This has happened multiple times, just like the grenade change that I mentioned earlier. They acknowledged that the community did not like that, and they still went through with it. Twitch. They absolutely gutted her FAMAS. The FAMAS used to have less recoil, and you could put a vertical grip on it. Now, well, I mean, I shouldn't say less recoil. It was always pretty high recoil. English. It was always a pretty high recoil weapon, but you could counteract that by using the compensator and the vertical grip. Now, we don't have the vertical grip anymore. So when it comes to console, the only people who can really use Twitch are those who have put in a lot of hours into practicing with her gun, or the more common thing is cheaters who use strike packs, who use Zims, who use Cronuses, who use all this other stupid shit, right? The cheating loser degenerates are the ones who can use the FAMAS. But you know, you and I, the normal players who enjoy playing the game, have fun constantly fighting with the game so you can get your kill. Shields. They went from actually balanced to damn near unkillable. If you think I am lying, over 50% of the things you do with a shield will make you invulnerable to a melee stun. Don't believe me? Certain frames of your sprint make you immune to melee. Punching a barricade makes you immune to melee. Going for a melee makes you immune to a melee stun. Vaulting makes you immune to a melee stun. When you're mid ADS, makes you immune to a melee stun, right? They made shields damn near unkillable via melee stuns. Now you have to use C4s and impact grenades to get a kill on shields. This doesn't really affect Clash because Clash is the outlier. When it comes to shield ops with Clash, her shield is the full shield. It's like Monty's extended shield. You can't really do much with it out. So, Clash is the exception. Let's go, okay, Buck. Buck lost his grenades. You know, the main reason to... How do I word this? Because Buck had a higher pick rate than Sledge, they decided the best course of action was to get rid of his grenades. So that Sledge would get picked more. Then Sledge got picked more and they made him a 1-speed. And took away the SMG-11. Can't forget that. Blackbeard. Well, Blackbeard is Blackbeard. Most people only play him for the guns, myself included. I'm very guilty of that. Most of us rarely use the rifle shield because it breaks in one shot. Almost every single time it will break in one shot, with very, very specific exceptions, which we will get into later when we get to Defenders and how shitty some of their guns are. So, Zofia. I don't know if I'm remembering this correctly, but I believe Zofia used to have 4 impacts and 4 concussions, and she was a 2-speed. So they got rid of... I know she at least had 4 concussions. I'm not sure about the impacts. I could be wrong. But they took away 2 of her concussions. They took away her resistance to the concussions. They made her a 1-speed, and they gutted both of her primaries. I mean, what the hell, Ubisoft? Is this even a console game anymore, or is this a PC exclusive game? It seems like Ubisoft, right? It seems like you guys over at Ubisoft are catering awful hard to the cheaters. You know, we have Mousetrap to detect Zim players, and finally today, the first Zim player got banned for cheating. Our first viral case of a Zim cheater getting banned for using a Zim has blown up on social media. Zim has always now let me preface this. Mouse and keyboard on console has always been an issue, even since I started playing the game. But the last 3 years, it has been such a big issue that I have stopped playing Siege as much as I used to. I used to play a lot of Siege. For those of you who don't know, Siege was my go-to game a while back. But ever since the mouse and keyboard issue and Ubisoft stopped caring about the game, right? Ever since those two things really started becoming mainstream, I haven't been playing it as much because it's not worth my time. There's no sense in me getting all pissed off over something I can't control. And then let's go with Dokkaebi, right? Dokkaebi, the nerf that she got this season is pointless. You know, why are you guys wasting resources on shit that nobody asked for and nobody cares about? Any halfway decent player would say, okay, the enemy team has a Dokkaebi player, right? Let's say it's round 1, okay? Oh, the enemy team has someone who's going Dokkaebi, so I'm gonna go mute next round. They start going mute, and look at that, the problem's gone. It's crazy. It is ridiculous to me that Ubisoft actually wasted time on a pointless Dokkaebi nerf when Dokubi's not even OP to begin with. She doesn't have nades. She has 2 semi-auto primaries. She has a machine pistol secondary with shitty iron sights, and she has the SMG-12, which, again, it's another gun that takes a lot of practice to get good with. And, you know, going through all the operators, really everything past Dokubi isn't too bad. It's really not that bad past Dokubi. So we're going to move over to defenders. So, first on the chopping block, we got Mute. It took Mute from a 2-speed to a 1-speed. Why? Because people realized he was versatile and could either be an anchor or a roamer. Ubisoft decided that in a game about player freedom and strategy, that we were playing Mute wrong. So they made him a 1-speed. Make that make sense. The Tachanka rework. Nobody asked for the Tachanka rework. Nobody liked the Tachanka rework. We would have been happy if you gave us another op who did what his rework does, but we wanted to keep Lord Tachanka with his mounted LMG. That was something we as the community, again, really had fun with. And it's gone now, lost to the sands of time, because Ubisoft says we're playing the game wrong. Here's where we start getting into the thick of it, okay? Jaeger. The 416C has been nerfed more times than I could even remember, okay? We've had multiple recoil nerfs. They took 5 rounds out of the mag, which, again, the thing people were complaining about was his gadget, but even his gadget wasn't that bad. So, they nerfed his gun multiple times, the recoil, then the ammo. They took him from a 3-speed to a 2, and they nerfed his ADSs. His ADSs now have, it was just one singular charge, by the way. They tried power creeping him hard when Momai came out, so it was just one charge, period. And now it's one charge that regenerates over, I think, 15 seconds, if I'm not mistaken. And he gets 3 of them, so he can get 3 projectiles every 15 seconds. And in a game like Siege, milliseconds are what determines the round. So having a cooldown of 15 seconds is ridiculous. I'm going to use a Paladin's example, okay? Most healers have really low cooldowns on their heal. Why? Because in a competitive shooter, seconds matter. Can you imagine if Furia had to wait, I don't know, let's say 6 seconds to heal somebody? Or if Io had a 5-second cooldown before she could use her Moonlight again? What? Can you guys imagine? Right, or let's take Overwatch, because Overwatch is what I play now. Could you guys imagine if Kiriko had to wait 8 seconds to get her heals back? No. It's ridiculous, right? That's where I'm coming from. Why is it 15 seconds to block a potential frag grenade that would kill your team? That could kill multiple people, right? I remember back in the day, if your Jaeger was good enough, if there was an ADS already in place, when Fuse set off his cluster charge, you could put another ADS down before it finished, and you could completely negate a cluster charge with Jaeger. We can't do that anymore. We can't. His ADSs used to have 3 charges a pop, with no cooldown. So, Echo. They've changed Echo's speed. They constantly mess around with his speed and with his ACOG. But he recently got his ACOG back. Let's see here. He got his ACOG back. They got rid of his invisible drone. They got rid of his immunity to Dokkaebi calls. The reason I have an issue with getting rid of both of those, the invisible drone thing, which the invisible gadget thing will come up later, don't worry. But the invisible drone, we have IQ for a reason. It's the same reason I get pissed off when people talk about Capcan being OP. I don't play Capcan very often, but it pisses me off when people say, "Oh, he's so OP." Play IQ. If you don't want to get blown up by one of his devices, play IQ. And then he used to be immune to Dokkaebi calls because he didn't have a phone. He had this little thing on his wrist that he would control his drones with and cycle through cams. So he was immune to Dokkaebi calls. Not anymore. Lesion. They got rid of his invisible goo mines, and they got rid of his indicators for where they were. That's also a pretty big problem if you ask me. You should be able to know which one of your mines went off, first and foremost, and second off, again, we have IQ. The community complains about pointless shit that already has a counter to it. We have IQ for a reason. Here's another one that we're going to get in the thick of it with, because this is another operator that Ubisoft seems to hate. Just remember, right, Ubisoft is a progressive company, right? They're not racist. No. They don't hate minorities. They hate women. They're a progressive company. Just remember that, okay? Ella. Now then, I'm going to go into a tangent here. I'm a gun guy. I have guns of my own. I have a 9mm pistol carbine that I like to shoot. Granted, it's civ legal, so it's not fully automatic, but 9mm out of a rifle-length firearm does not kick that hard. You know, Ubisoft used to, right, the Siege development team used to actually go to gun ranges and shoot what they wanted to implement into their game to get a feel for how it works. And they would travel all over the world and pay all sorts of money to do this shit. And they refuse. They flat out refuse now. So, the recoil makes no sense, especially considering the fact that Mira, right, Mira and Goyo have the Vector. The Scorpion Evo 3 is chambered in 9x19, the Vector in Siege is chambered in 45 ACP. 45 ACP, mind you, is a harder hitting, but it also kicks harder, right? It's a harder hitting but a higher recoiling cartridge over 9mm. Ella's gun should not kick that hard. I understand fire rate plays a part into recoil control, but when it's 9mm out of a rifle-length firearm, that is not how it works. Then let's go over damage. Is there any reason that Frost, who has the Sterling, is doing 30, almost 40 damage with an ACOG, right? She's got the ACOG on her gun, which I'm not saying take it away. I'm saying keep it. We need more Defender ACOGs. I'm not saying take it away. But is there any reason that Frost's gun is doing over 30 damage, almost 40, and it shoots the same caliber that Ella's gun does, but Ella's gun does 22 damage? Does that make any sense? Let's go over to her shotgun, okay? Her shotgun used to be good. I was one of the few people who started the shotgun meta with Ella back during Shifting Tides, so that was Year 4, Season 4. When Wamai and Kali came out, I was one of the people who started that whole Ella shotgun thing. And yeah, go ahead, yell at me all you want, but, you know, I'd like to play my main and have a usable gun, right? I'd rather have a decent gun and a shit gadget than a shit gadget and shit guns. So, the Origin 12, they nerfed it to the ground. They nerfed it through the ground, sorry. They threw that thing in a coffin and buried it, okay? It does no damage, it has no range, and the best part, this is a... Sorry, this is a Siege issue specifically. There is a... Headshots with shotguns are not insta-kills, by the way. Headshots with everything else are insta-kills, but not with shotguns. So, you don't even get one-shot headshot with Ella's shotgun. You don't get damage with her shotgun, and you don't get range, even with an extended barrel. And again, I'm a gun guy. I have a shotgun, right? It's not the Origin 12. I plan on getting one eventually, right? But it's not the Origin 12, but I do have a shotgun. 12 gauge has more range than what video games and TV shows and movies would like you to believe. It's got more range. It hits a lot harder than what Ubisoft thinks it does. It has a lot of ass behind it. So, again, There's no reason it should be that weak. And then the recoil, by the way, makes no sense either. And again, coming from a shooter, right, coming from someone who target shoots, 12 gauge doesn't kick that hard. It has ass behind it, but it doesn't kick as hard as Siege makes it out to be. And then let's go with her concussion mine, right? She used to have 4, they took 1 away, fine, whatever. It still did something, it still slowed your movement speed, and it warped your sensitivity. So it would still, like, actually do something. Now, it does nothing, and it's just a screen filter. It's just a screen filter and muffles audio. That's all her gadget does. And it doesn't even do that efficiently anymore. And again, IQ plays a big part into this. If people played IQ the way she was designed, instead of, oh, rushdown meta with the LMG, or her, then this wouldn't be an issue. And then Ella and Zofia both lost their resistance to their concussion grenades, which really makes no sense to me. So, Alibi. Can we please update her holograms to be somewhat like Iona, where your gun and your cosmetics and shit are what your hologram is? Can we please update Alibi's holograms? I mean, again, this goes back to they're wasting time on pointless shit that nobody was complaining about. Which, we're going to get into a tangent about that Dokkaebi thing here in a minute. But they're wasting all this time on pointless shit nobody asked for, when they could do something that would actually benefit the community. Such as updating Alibi to where her holograms are like Iona's. Clash. When Clash came out for the first, like, year, there was Clash glitches where you could shoot through the shield. There were God mode glitches, there were shoot through shield glitches, there were invisibility glitches. Well, with this season, guess what? Now there's another invisibility glitch with Clash. Great job, Ubisoft. I don't know how you let that one slip through. Wamai. Wamai lost his ACOG for no reason, while Melusi lost hers, but in exchange, Melusi got an extra Banshee and a pocket shotgun for site setup. So Melusi got an improvement in exchange for her ACOG, whilst Wamai just lost his ACOG for no reason. Again, welcome to Ubisoft. You think they know how to balance anything? Azami. I dislike Azami for one reason. One-way angles. Do you know how many times I've died from a one-way angle where there was physically no way I could have shot back and survived? And this happens all the time. The pro players endorse it. The streamers, they approve of it and endorse it and do it on their streams. They release a very abusable operator. And then when people stop playing because of that, they act like it's our fault. Like, no, we're sick of dying to one-way angles in which we have no way to fight back. And let's go with Solus, right? To end off the whole balance thing here, let's talk about Solus. Solus has been nerfed 2 seasons in a row for pretty much no reason. She wasn't an issue before. Nobody was complaining about her before. So, we nerfed her last season. She can no longer use her gadget in prep phase. Okay, fine. But she also had to wait the whole duration, or the whole recharge duration for her gadget, which was kind of stupid considering the fact that Nook, Kavera, and Vigil all got buffed for that exact same thing. Solus, the concept of her gadget and the recharge was based on the same thing with, again, Nook, Vigil, Kavera. And then they say, oh yeah, so people actually enjoy playing this operator, and we don't like that. We don't like it when our players have fun, so we're just gonna, like, get rid of everything that makes her usable. And now guess what? Now you get 2 charges. You get 2 charges to scan a gadget. Oh, lovely. How beautiful. You get 2 overclock charges. And maybe, just maybe if you're lucky, you'll find Diffuser. Maybe. And then, when you use that, by the way, it saps all of your meter. So you have to wait the entire recharge duration. Great job, Ubisoft. You took an operator who was actually fun to play and ruined her. You did what you do best. You did what you do best, Ubisoft. You take something enjoyable and you get rid of it. I'm gonna go on a bit of a rant here, okay, about the community, about the streamers, about the pro players. You guys complain about the dumbest shit, okay? All the content creators are sitting here praising Ubisoft for the Shield rework. Meanwhile, those of us who are trying to sit down and play the game and have a decent experience, right? Those of us who actually play the game and are just trying to have fun, we have to deal with shields who can't even be melee stunned half the time, right? We have to deal with bullshit hit reg, which the hit reg gets worse every single season, right? Every single season the hit reg gets worse and worse. And it's causing people to outright quit the game. And then, there's a thing, I don't know if y'all knew this or not, the game can reject your shot, which means it registered, and the game literally said, fuck you. If you think I'm joking, I saw this clip on Reddit this morning. This guy downed someone, ran up to them, mag dumped them, and each time they shot them, the game was telling them shot rejected. The game can literally deny you your kill. Great job, Ubisoft. Great job. And again, the pointless nerfs with Solus, with Dokkaebi, we can be using resources to actually make the game better, but we're using resources to appease to content creators who don't know shit about balancing. We're going to put these resources towards content creators who are very biased against certain operators and biased towards certain operators. We nerfed the detection range for Solus's gadget, but we're not going to bother with IQs. IQ can still spot the bomb from halfway across the map, meanwhile Solus can barely spot the diffuser from 12 meters away. It's the double standard, it's the high-res effect. I'm telling you guys, it is the high-res effect. This season, just kind of, it's just, no. That shit just kind of pushed me over the edge.